See here we have three 16-foot long utility panels. They have 4-inch squares on them so that the hogs can't get out. And what we're going to do is we're going to wire up the panels first and then get those made into the circle shape for the corral trap. You can have a teardrop or a circular shape. The main thing is to make sure you have no corners in your trap, since this is going to be an open top design. You don't want anywhere for the hogs to pile up and go over the side of it. With a circle design, they'll just go in circles around it, or a teardrop shape. As you can see, we put the trap gate right here facing the woods, which is actually where the hogs have been traveling from. So you want to try and face it the direction that you know the animals are traveling to and from. We have a T-post that is actually holding the gate, the trap gate, and it's already built in. There's actually a hole for the T-post to go on this style of a trap gate. Some of them may not have that, but in this situation, we drove the T-post into that. And as you can see, you can't put the panel on the inside of that T-post since it has these little openings for the T-post to slide into. So what we had to end up doing was put another T-post on the outside of the panel, because you want that panel on the side where the hogs are at, pushing up against the T-post instead of the other way around. So we're going to go ahead and wire an additional T-post into either side of the gate, and then we're going to go back in and put T-post on the exterior of this and wire it up. And now we put all the T-posts in at 4-foot intervals. And as you can see here, you want to wire them from the outside. And whenever you do that, that leaves the smooth side of the wire on the interior of the trap. That way, whenever the hogs come by, they're not going to hit that knot that you made in the wire. And as you can see, they're doubled over baling wire. So that way, it's a little bit stronger. Also, the T-post, the exterior of the trap, that way the panels are pushed up against the T-post. That way, if you have the T-post on the inside, it's going to be pushing up against only the wire, and it can pop the wire, so this makes it a little stronger. As you can see here, the doubled over baling wire that we use to tie, we actually put 5 on each T-post. Usually 4 to 5 will do it. As you can see, I've got 2 on the bottom. That's normally where you're going to have the most problem. You obviously want to have one on the very bottom wire, and this one I put one that's about 6 inches, 8 inches above the next one. That way, whenever they're actually going around and trying to root their way out, that's going to hold them a little bit better. We actually have a trip wire that's associated with this trap. So what we did is we ran some wire from the actual post that holds open this V-style corral trap through a stay that's on a T-post set in the middle of the trap. This here serves to keep the wire above the back of the hogs whenever they enter the trap. And then from there, I actually went to the back of the trap and used 2 sticks as the stakes in this situation. And what this does is it makes a longer trigger, so it doesn't make the hogs go in and hit one stake. Instead, they can hit anywhere along this wire. We're going to wire these gates open for a period of time to condition the hogs to trapping. So as you can see, we wired each side of this gate open just to the panel. And then the other thing that we're going to do in this situation is we're going to actually condition them and use a camera to know whenever the hogs are actually using the trap and coming in and feeding regularly. The camera helps out a lot in this situation, because what's going to happen is we're going to know whenever all the hogs in a sounder are actually entering the trap and feeding. And the way that it's positioned, you know, you can see the hogs in the trap, but you can also see the ones that are still on the exterior of the trap gate and hasn't made their way into the trap yet. So that's a really good tool to know whenever all the hogs in a sounder are entering the trap and eating. We have a thin line of bait that starts on the exterior of the trap, comes in through the trap gate. And then as you come in, you can see there's several piles of bait that are put in the trap. And all these piles of bait are actually away from that trigger. You can see there is a pile of bait on that trigger, but the premise of the way that I baited this trap is that the hogs will follow this thin line of bait through the trap gate. They'll work their way around to all these different bait piles, and then eventually they'll make their way back to this trip wire and root around on it. This trip wire will end up getting hit, and the gate is triggered. The reason for those bait piles, like I said, is they slowly make their way in through the trap. And as they do that, that allows the whole sounder or whole group of hogs to make their way in instead of just catching the first few hogs that will enter the trap and go straight to the trip wire. What they'll be doing is going through each bait piles and then working their way to the back of the trap and then triggering it hopefully after the whole sounder is in the trap.